Jake had never imagined Seattle could feel so lonely. The city buzzed with life. Cars, people, the constant hum of the streets. But the loneliness crept in during the quiet moments. Jake is an MMA fighter. He had just moved into the small apartment across from an old laundromat run by a man named Mr. Grimley. The laundromat was small, with faded yellow signage and an old-fashioned charm that made it feel as though time had slowed there. Jake barely gave it a thought until the first time he met Erica. Erica, the beautiful girl who lived next door. Hey, I see we're neighbors. Yeah, just moved in. I'm Jake. Erica, good to have you around. Their conversation was light, about the building, the neighborhood, the weather. Jake learned that Erica was single, something that made his pulse quicken. He wanted to ask her out, but not yet. Not so soon. He didn't want to scare her off. After that, Jake found himself subconsciously looking for chances to run into Erica. It started with the smallest of things, walking past her door a little more often, standing in the hallway pretending to check his phone when she passed by. Then one evening, as he returned from the gym, he bumped into her again, this time outside. Oh, hey Erica. Hi Jake. She was carrying a basket of laundry. I'm heading to Mr. Grimley's laundromat. You should come by sometime. It's actually a nice place. Jake was surprised. Mr. Grimley, the old man across the street. Not the kind of first date he was thinking of. Mr. Grimley's? He's really funny. Always helps me out. He does laundry better than anyone. He's like part therapist, part laundry expert. Jake raised a brow. Sounds like quite a guy. He is. Seriously, he's always so kind, and he's got such a great sense of humor. Erica was a little too fond of Mr. Grimley. It wasn't just that she was friendly. There was something in the way she spoke about him. Weird. The next weekend, Jake found himself with a pile of laundry and no choice but to try out the laundromat. He told himself it was purely practical. He needed clean clothes. But deep down, a part of him was curious to see this Mr. Grimley for himself. He crossed the street, the cold air biting at his skin. The laundromat was quiet inside, the hum of machines filling the space. As Jake entered, an old man was behind the counter. His eyes narrowed cold as he looked up from his book. Can I help you? Yeah, I've got some laundry to do. The man grunted and gestured toward the rows of machines. Put it in one of those. 45 minutes. Jake did as instructed, noting the harshness in his voice. Don't take up too much space. But as he was loading his clothes, he noticed something strange. A young woman, maybe in her 20s, walked in. She smiled at Mr. Grimley, Hi, Mr. Grimley. I brought you cookies. Thought you could use a treat today. Mr. Grimley snorted and spit on the ground before taking one of the cookies. Gross. But Jake watched, slightly agape, as she left with a playful wink at Mr. Grimley. Jake blinked, confused. What just happened? Then another woman entered. She was younger than the first, maybe in her late teens. And as soon as she stepped in, she went straight to the counter, where she leaned in and whispered something into Mr. Grimley's ear. The interactions were strange. Jake couldn't wrap his mind around how Mr. Grimley, an old man, had this effect on women. How did he do it? Jake finished his laundry, trying not to stare too much. Mr. Grimley didn't say another word to him, barely looking up as Jake left. In the days that followed, Jake started to pay closer attention. He saw Erica every evening as she headed to the laundromat with a basket of clothes. How much laundry does she do? She'd laugh at his jokes, bring him little treats like cookies and cakes. On one occasion, Jake saw her walk in with a Christmas gift for the man. A Christmas gift? For Mr. Grimley. Jake didn't know what to make of it. He was competing with an old laundromat guy for her attention. Frustrated, Jake decided to just make a move. He figured a casual excuse might work. So, one evening, he knocked on Erica's door. Hey, Erica. I ran out of sugar for my coffee. I was wondering if you had any I could borrow? Oh, of course, come in. I was about to make coffee myself. Jake sat across from her at the small kitchen table, nervous but determined. Erica brought over the coffee and sat down. So, Erica, I was thinking maybe we could catch a movie this weekend. Actually, Jake, there's someone else. Jake's heart sank. I thought you were single. I am single, but I don't know how to tell him. Well, just say it. You're beautiful, funny, sweet. Who wouldn't want to be with a girl like you? Really? You think so? Of course. Who's the lucky guy? Mr. Grimley. Jake froze. What? The room seemed to close in on Jake. He felt nauseous, his thoughts swirling in disbelief. Mr. Grimley, the laundromat guy. I love him, Jake. I really do. Isn't he so dreamy? He looks just like Chris Hemsworth. Really? I know it sounds crazy, but I've never felt anything like this before. And what does age matter when it comes to true love? I gotta go." Jake excused himself, barely able to look her in the eye. He stumbled out of the apartment, feeling a strange chill creep up his spine. As soon as he was alone in his apartment, Jake couldn't stop thinking about what Erica had said. He paced, trying to make sense of it. Mr. Grimley. How could she be in love with that old man? He runs a laundromat. Yet, somehow, Erica was captivated by him. Nonetheless, life goes on. Jake had a match to prepare for. He focused on training, trying to drown out the chaos in his mind, but it was hard. Every time he saw Erica coming and going, always with a smile for Mr. Grimley, it felt like a knife twisting in his gut. How could she not see the absurdity of it? Mr. Grimley was a relic, a man who ran an old laundromat, and who had apparently figured out a way to attract women in a way that Jake, for all his good looks and MMA success, couldn't. It was a riddle he couldn't solve. A few days later, however, Erica knocked on his door. Jake wasn't in the mood for another awkward conversation about Mr. Grimley, but he answered anyway. "Hey Jake, I'm going out of town for a couple of days for work, but I just dropped off my laundry at Mr. Grimley's. I was hoping you could pick it up for me tonight." Jake, for some reason, couldn't say no. Annoyed, but not wanting to disappoint her, he agreed. "Yeah, sure, no problem." "Thanks so much. You're the best, Jake. I'll see you when I get back." And with that, she left. Jake didn't really want to pick up her laundry. He wasn't interested in dealing with Mr. Grimley again, especially after the strange, uncomfortable interactions he had at the laundromat. But he did it anyway, feeling like there was no way out of this one. That evening, as he stood in the dimly lit laundromat, Jake couldn't help but notice the odd, almost sickly sweet scent in the air. He breathed it in, trying to place it. It was floral, but not the kind of floral scent you'd find in a perfume shop. Kinda made him nauseous, wanted to puke. Jake grabbed Erica's laundry bag and headed back home. The next morning, Jake went about his usual routine. He had a drug test scheduled today. Where are my socks? Oops, wrong bag. Jake tossed Erica's clothes aside, but that smell, it lingered all over him. What detergent does she use? Jake got his drug test done that day. But come that evening, he got a call from his coach. "Jake, what the hell is going on?" "What happened?" "The test results came back. You've got substance in your system." "What? That's impossible. Something must have gotten mixed up." Jake had been clean. He didn't do anything. He had never touched anything that could jeopardize his career. "I don't know what you did, but you better get down to the lab right now." Dr. Porter, Jake's doctor for almost 3 years now, looked at him with concern. "We're gonna run the tests again, but the report came back with something quite strange. A substance we've never seen in the blood work of any professional athlete." Jake's head spun. He had no idea what was. But it didn't matter. It wasn't him. He had been clean. He demanded a retest. Back at home, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. He Googled the substance. His eyes widening as the description filled the screen. It was an addictive substance. It was a substance derived from rare flowers, and almost disturbingly, it had a strong floral scent. Jake froze, a chill running down his spine. That scent. What he smelled in Erica's laundry. In a panic, Jake grabbed Erica's laundry bag. He had to know. It was late at night, but he didn't care. He headed straight to Dr. Porter's house. Jake, what is going on? It's midnight. I need you to test these clothes. You want me to test clothes? What is going on? Jake was desperate. Just test them, please. I can't explain it all, but I think I'm onto something. Dr. Porter reluctantly agreed, though he seemed skeptical. He took the laundry and set it aside to run some tests in his lab. Jake paced back and forth, his thoughts running wild. It felt like hours before Dr. Porter returned holding the results. Jake, you're right. There's in her clothes. This is the substance that's been showing up in your blood test. It's highly addictive. This stuff, it changes people. How did it get in her clothes? Mr. Grimley. Mr. Grimley hadn't always been this old, creepy man running a laundromat. No, he had once been a boy. A lonely, odd boy who didn't fit in with the other kids. While they played basketball, Mr. Grimley spent his recess inspecting weeds and herbs in the corner of the schoolyard. The other kids teased him for his peculiar interests. But as he got older, his desire for knowledge turned into a full-fledged obsession with botany. He studied plants, herbs, and flowers. But his family couldn't afford to send him to college. After his parents died, Mr. Grimley found himself running their laundromat, alone and isolated. And soon, the loneliness ate at him. The only company he ever had were the customers who came to the laundromat. In those years, Mr. Grimley spent more time around women than he ever did before. They'd come into the laundromat, usually alone, their laundry baskets in hand. Some were kind to him, others indifferent. But there was one woman, a young woman, named Susan, who caught his attention the most. She came in every week, always with a friendly smile and a pleasant word. At first, she only seemed to talk to him out of politeness. But over time, they began having small conversations about the weather, about her life. Mr. Grimley found himself looking forward to her visits. One afternoon, as Susan was leaving, Mr. Grimley offered her a small jar of something he had been working on. A homemade detergent he had crafted, with a blend of flowers and herbs he'd cultivated in his spare time. It's special. I think you'll like it. How sweet of you, Mr. Grimley. I'll give it a try. She smiled, and it felt like the first time in years someone had really seen him. Not as a laundromat guy, but as someone worth noticing. Susan, I was thinking maybe we could spend some time together? Maybe dinner? But as soon as Mr. Grimley broke the ice, Susan's face darkened. I have to go. That night, after Susan left, Mr. Grimley's mind began to spiral. He had spent so much of his life unnoticed, unloved. Perhaps, he thought, this was his chance. Perhaps Susan would come back. Perhaps they could be together, buy a home together, start a family together, grow old together. But the next week, he didn't show up. And the week after that, she still didn't return. Am I that bad? Why did she have to leave? Why did she have to insult me like that? It was after that encounter that Mr. Grimley's desire shifted. His dream of being loved turned into an obsession. He wasn't going to be rejected like that again. He wouldn't let it happen. He couldn't. From that point on, he adjusted his homemade detergent, tweaking the formula, adding just a little more of the flour that gave off a sweet, intoxicating scent. One that would worm its way into someone's mind, making them feel loved. And so, he began to offer it to other women who came to the laundromat. Each one praised the detergent, marveling at how it made their clothes smell so sweet, how it softened their skin. It didn't take long for Mr. Grimley's customers, particularly the young women, to return again and again. And the more they came, the more he saw the change in them. They began to need him. They couldn't stay away from him. They would look at him with fondness, affection, even love. Erica sat in the office, trying to listen to the sales pitch. But she was jittery, anxious. She couldn't stay still. Erica, are you okay? Erica wasn't okay. It had been too long. You know what? I can't take this anymore. I have to do it. I have to go. Erica, what are you doing? We're gonna lose the deal. Sit down. But Erica didn't listen. She left the meeting early. Her decision made. She knew where she needed to go. Erica? What are you doing here? At this time? Mr. Grimley, I love you. I love you, Mr. Grimley.
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.